In this video, I will share with you the 10 ways on how to stay healthy as a vegan. I'm Jessica Karavar. I'm a health coach for vegan women and a menstrual cycle expert, and I have worked with hundreds of clients at this point worldwide, and I have the best tips for you on how to stay healthy as a vegan. So the very first tip that I have for you is to follow a whole foods approach. But there is a big but to it. What I mean with whole foods is you want to make sure you eat a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits and grains, whole grains, lentils, beans, chickpeas. The thing with a whole foods approach only when it's not really balanced is that a whole foods approach can be extremely high in carbohydrates. My second point would be to make sure that you still have an adequate protein intake. This means that the majority of whole food vegan sources are not necessarily always seen as a primary vegan source. For example, chickpeas, beans, lentils. We see them as high in protein, but they're also a lot higher in carbohydrates. When we consume a whole foods only approach and not paying attention to our protein intake, we're consuming a lot more carbohydrates, which can make us feel bloated, sluggish. We feel like we're always hungry. We feel like we're craving things. So making sure you're upping your protein intake on a vegan diet would be my second way. Good vegan protein sources are anything from tofu, tempeh, seitan, textured vegetable protein, protein powder, but also fake meats. I would definitely stay on the lower consumption of fake meats, right? Once in a while, it's fine to have those, but don't overdo it as well. And just make sure that each of your meals has an adequate amount of protein in it. The third way is fiber. Now, when you're vegan, I have, again, as I said, worked with a lot of women at this point, and I also experienced that when I first went vegan, I wanted to be extremely healthy. What ended up happening is that I was consuming way too much fiber, which kept me very bloated. I felt like my digestion was really off, and no matter what I tried, I just didn't feel good. There is such thing as too much fiber. We always speak about how fiber is important, and it is. We should definitely consume fiber because it's extremely good for healthy bowel movements. It will help you flush out any toxins in your body. Fiber, very important. But if you have too much fiber and you struggle with bloating and even constipation, your body will not be able to absorb the nutrients, which is also not that good, right? Because you want to absorb the nutrients from the food that you're eating. So that's a second point that I would definitely pay attention to. There is a middle, and it's a very individual approach to this, right? I'm not going to give you just a general advice for how much fiber you can take, but pay attention to the fiber intake, maybe track it for a couple of days and see if you feel better with lower amounts of fiber or higher amounts of fiber. The fourth way is to definitely supplement with vitamin B12. Now, vitamin B12 is something that I hear a lot of non-vegans say, like, oh, you have to supplement with this, otherwise you're not going to be healthy. When you go vegan, you have to supplement with a lot of things. But the truth is that vitamin B12 today is no longer as readily available in soil and is not produced as much anymore naturally in a natural way. So what happens is that even if we were to eat meat, those cows, all of those animals that we would eat are also getting supplemented with vitamin B12. What does this mean? So you're just cutting out the middleman, you're taking a supplement yourself. You do not need to consume meat products or dairy products to get B12 because those animals at this point are getting it supplemented too. So there's literally no excuse for you to continue eating meat. And if this is an argument that you hear from people that you have to supplement because now that you're vegan, to be honest, most omnivores that eat meat should be supplementing with B12 anyways. The next important tip that I have for you is to make sure you're supplementing with D3 in combination with K2. This is extremely important. Make sure that the vitamin is vegan, of course. In combination with K2 is just going to help you with your absorption as well. But the truth is also with D3, if you're omnivore or if you're vegan, you both should be supplementing that, right? No matter what your diet looks like, this is incredibly important. The majority of us people, we're living in darker countries, in colder countries, or we are not spending so much time outside. Even if you were to spend a lot of time outside, You need to be completely uncovered, really showing your skin to the sun in order for you to absorb enough of vitamin D into your body, which is in most cases extremely unrealistic. Maybe we have it when we go on holidays once a year or twice a year, but that's it. So make sure, if you especially feel very sluggish, low in energy during winter times, during seasons where it's colder, you will experience a huge shift if you supplement with enough vitamin D3. The next thing is omega-3. And I want to tell you a little bit as to why this is incredibly important. I hear a lot of non-vegans also say that we need to eat fish in order to get omega-3. Well, to be honest, fish get it from algae. So again, you're cutting out the middleman and you're also cutting out a lot of toxins that nowadays are in fish, right? Microplastics and all of that stuff that you do not want to consume. Unfortunately, fish are consuming that. So by the end of the day, you can cut out the middleman again and go to the number one source, which is algae. Omega-3 is incredibly important for many functions in our body, such as our brain health and also for inflammation. Now, on a vegan diet, what happens a lot is that our omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is very imbalanced. We're consuming a lot of more omega-6. And this is important because when we consume too much omega-6, our bodies cannot convert enough omega-3 in our bodies. So what we want to do is we want to lower the amount of omega-6 that we're consuming and make sure we're upping our omega-3. So I'm going to give you examples of where you can find omega-3 in vegan food sources. We have chia seeds, we have hemp seeds, flax seeds, for example. So these are good omega-3 sources. Omega-6 sources is a lot of times in all of the other fat sources. Avocado, peanut butter, almond butter, all of those other fat sources have a higher ratio of omega-6. So what we can do in order for you to not go crazy is, I always recommend taking a supplement. Having a supplement of omega-3, which is algae based, which is vegan. This way you don't have to stress too much about it. Your body is absorbing enough of omega-3 and you will feel a lot better. I personally do it because I travel a lot. I don't want to overthink it. I do consume chia and flax and all of those beautiful omega-3 primary sources as well that I can. But because I don't want to stress too much about if I'm getting enough in, I just take a very good supplement and it makes me feel a lot better. The next way is to make sure that you are reducing the intake of processed food. And I know, we all know this, but I also want to encourage you to not completely let go of your favorite foods because, you know, as a nutritionist, as a vegan nutritionist and a health coach, I've seen this so many times that when people restrict themselves from their favorite foods like ice cream, pizza, whatever it is, okay, whatever your favorite food is, we psychologically are going to want it even more because we're thinking about it. It's the forbidden food. And so what you want to do is follow the approach that I like to call the 80-20 approach. And the way that I teach my clients this is 80% nutritious food, 20% happiness food. With this approach, what you're going to do is you're going to feel a lot more balanced because nutritionally you're eating all of your foods 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you're allowing yourself to have foods that, you know, are maybe not nutritionally as valuable, but they make you happy. So this approach is really helpful. It's going to help you just generally be on the healthier side, but not feel so restricted. The next point is, if you're a woman and you're watching this, is to cycle sync. What does this mean? Now, I explained this in one of my previous videos that when it comes to the menstrual cycle, our menstrual cycle is not only our period and our ovulation, but we go through 4 different phases in the menstrual cycle. We have the follicular, ovulatory, luteal, and menstrual phase. In every phase, your body is preparing for something that is to follow. So for example, in the follicular phase, your body is preparing for ovulation. In ovulation, your body is preparing for a possible pregnancy. Then your body is preparing for a period. And it's a cycle. Your body is doing so much behind the scenes. Sometimes you forget about it. And so because your body is constantly busy and preparing for something, the best way to feel the best as a woman is to give your body the nutrients that it needs during each phase of the cycle. This is so powerful because when you're eating the right amounts of foods and you're eating the right types of nutrients, you're going to, of course, give your body what it needs and you're going to experience the benefits. A lot of times we underestimate how or what a shift this can really have. So give it a try. Cycle syncing is extremely easy. I have a lot of content as well on my Instagram, so make sure you check it out. The handle is at I am Jessica Carvat. You will also find it in the show notes. The next important tip that I have for you is to make sure that each meal has some type of fruit or vegetable source in it. So for example, I like to have my breakfast, which is usually 2 to 3 different types of fruits, if I can, even more, because I just really love my fruit in the morning. I usually have it on my oatmeal or as a smoothie. And then throughout the day, I have a snack, which might be a fruit, or I have, some raw carrots. I make sure that my lunch always has fresh vegetables in it, if it's cooked or however I like to prepare it. I'm not stressing out too much about the preparation. And then in the evening, I also make sure that my meal has some type of vegetables. Now, a pro tip that I have for you, let's say you're following the 80-20 rule, 80% nutritious food, 20% happiness food. One pro tip that I have for you is to, let's say, for example, you're having a pizza for dinner and you have gotten yourself a beautiful vegan pizza with some vegan cheese and some vegan tofu maybe on top, and you have no vegetables. So what you can do is make yourself a little side salad or top it with some fresh vegetables that you have at home. And here you already have an 80-20 approach where you're having a beautiful happiness food, but you're also adding some healthy foods to it, and you're going to feel a lot more satisfied and probably a lot healthier after eating the meal as well. And then the last tip that I have for you is mindset. I know this is something that is maybe not as common to talk about, but mindset is really, really the most important thing. It's the foundation of how you feel every single day, how you talk to yourself, how motivated you are, and how much more likely you are to going to implement those tips as well. One pro tip that I have for you is ask yourself, what would my future self do? A lot of times we are so focused on the past or the present, and we are very worried about the future. But what about we can shift it into the future being super, super empowering, and we can ask ourselves, okay, I have these certain goals that I want to achieve. What would my future self, who already achieved that goal, would do? Like, what would my future self do? Would she eat the pizza without the veggies, or would she add some veggies on top because she knows she cares about herself and her body, and she wants to nurture and nourish her body with good foods, right? So this is a very easy approach, and it really personally helped me, and it also helps my clients to just move forward in the day with confidence, with ease, with happiness, and also with stillness, and also the assurance that whatever you're doing, you're on the right path. Now, if this was helpful, I would love for you to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's at I am Jessica Carvat. I also have a podcast where you can check out even more amazing information on topics like these. And I appreciate you so much. Until the next time. Bye-bye.